Okay, there we go.
Okay. All right, so
Next.
Sue, can you go down to the next slide where we have, okay, there we go. Sorry about that, everyone. So let's go back, and when I believe I was frozen on the screen was when we were talking about what the NMA, the purpose of our strategic plan, and again, that is to provide direction to our organization and our directors, our staff, and our committee chairs, as well as our chapters, to give them a top-level plan to help them when they're developing their supporting strategic plan at the chapter level. So let's start with what our first step is, and you always want to make sure you include your NMA mission and vision into your strategic plan. That should be your guiding principles. And on the screen, you will see that the very first part of our strategic plan is the NMA vision statement and mission statement, and I'm sure all of you are very familiar with that. So I will not read that to you. But do take the opportunity to make sure that your local chapters are aware of what the NMA vision statement and mission statement is. Having it in your newsletter is a great way to share that. So, Sue, can you go to the next slide? Because I tried moving it.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So, when we got together in January as a National Board Planning Committee, we landed on 3 of our strategic responses, and those are focusing on association, sustainability, and growth, our partnerships and products, and then our NMA image. So those are the 3 pillars to our strategic plan. We're going to start with the first, which is our strategic response number 1, which is association, sustainability, and growth. And we have our 3-year goal. Well, our objective is to sustain and grow our chapters and membership. Our 3-year goal is to grow members of 10% per year. I don't know if anyone else has it. It's going off my screen. There we go. To 10% net gain in membership per year over the 12/31/13 NMA membership report, which on that date, our membership at the national level was 12,913. And our 1-year goal was to have a 10% net gain in membership for 2014. One of our goals also for this year was to have our AS&D Chair receive 22 contacts quarterly from our national directors. And those would be contacts that would be leads to potential chapters within organizations where we can grow chapters. And so it's very important that as you are working with your national director, that is on your strategic plan as well, is to look for contact or to gain contact information to send to your national director, and then that can get communicated to the national level so that we can pursue growth in both membership and chapters. We have some key initiatives that fall under this strategic plan, which is to diversify our membership by looking into new markets such as government chapters, collegiate chapters, our individual members, as well as growing at an international level. We also are implementing membership campaigns, and we're measuring success. So I am hoping that each and every one of you are out there promoting our marketing campaigns, our membership campaigns, I'm sorry, so that we can grow even within your own chapter. We're doing some benchmarking against other associations, such as Association for Talent and Development, just so that we can look to see how they grow and develop and see where we could learn best practices. We are sustaining and want to grow the participation into our rewards and recognition programs. So as Karen has championed as his year as chairman of the board, and I will continue in 2015, is we encourage each chapter to recognize an executive of the year, a member of the year, our Hall of Fame, and those types of recognition. Be sure that they are being implemented at your chapter level, and then, of course, then taking that to the next level and submitting them for nomination at the national level. And we're assisting our NMA chapter, our staff, with helping them come up with membership growth campaigns, marketing strategies, as well as looking at our promotional materials and updating them and aligning them to meet the chapter needs. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Steve and ask if he has any additional input that he would like to share regarding association sustainability and growth.
Well, thank you, Nancy. I think maybe what I'll do is at the end of each of these strategic responses, I'll kind of reach out to our chapters and ask all of you to give some thought to, all right, is this a goal that we have? Now, chances are your chapter's own strategic plan does not have something called association sustainability and growth, but it should have something similar. And what do I mean by that? Well, a few moments ago, Nancy alluded to mission and vision, and I've certainly learned over the years that chapter leaders that either at the beginning of their term and or maybe halfway through, and December's a good time for many of you, to sit down and go through a little exercise and to go, what is our chapter's mission statement? Now, chances are nobody's going to be able to cough it up, and they're going to be all embarrassed, and that's just how it works. Nobody does. But it's a good exercise to say, are we, first of all, are we doing what we say we're going to be doing? And then secondly, are we going in a direction that is still value added, that is still hooked to our company's or our community's mission? So after you go through that and you decide, do we need to tackle this mission statement or not? You go through it if you need to. If what you've got's fine, you move on. And then like Nancy and our officers did, you start with, all right, identify the key areas. So what I would hope is that out there in your chapter, you're saying to yourselves, how do we sustain what we've got and how do we grow it? And then you sit down and, that's really what strategic planning is all about. Thinking strategically is about assessing your business and applying new insights. So whether you're at the beginning of a term or whether you're midway through, you sit back and you go, what are we doing to make sure that we're still a viable entity in our company or in our community? So then you need to identify some key initiatives. How are you going to grow the chapter? How are you going to sustain it with current members? How are you going to make the chapter attractive? How are you going to reach out? How do you bring new people into the fold? So I don't want to go into mind-numbing detail, but the real purpose of this webinar today, and Nancy did a great job kicking it off this way, is to say, this is what your own national officers do, and what we want to encourage, and we're going to probably take it to the LDCs this year, is to make sure strategic planning finds its way down into your chapter so that you are setting definitive goals and objectives for yourself. So, Nancy, that's my contribution here on strategic response number 1.
Thank you very much, Steve. Sue, do we have any questions from the audience? Comments? Anything in the chat?
I don't have anything in the chat.
Okay.
Do you want me to unmute everyone and see if they have any questions?
Yeah, let's see if we can do that without getting background noise, but sure, let's go ahead and try.
I may have to mute it back if we do. Now, they're unmuted.
Okay, does anyone have any comments or questions or feedback they want to provide at this time? Okay, so we'll move on to strategic response number 2. You can go back ahead and mute them, Sue.
Okay, and then give me a second to unmute you, okay?
Okay.
Let's see. There.
Okay. Thank you very much. So next slide, please. All right, so here we are talking about our strategic response number 2, which is our partnerships and our products. And our objective is to expand the inventory of NMA products and services and their use by the corporations, chapters, and individuals. We have a 3-year goal to develop at least one NMA proprietary product. And we have a 1-year goal to increase 10% of our sales of NMA proprietary or non-proprietary professional development material over what we had sold on 12/31/13. So this is another opportunity for you to support this strategic goal. Sue, if you can flip to the next slide. Some of the products and offerings, this is a visual of what we have offering today. Some of our key initiatives that we're using to support this strategic response is that we are looking to offer CEUs for continuing education units for NMA professional development materials. We are focusing on our foundations of management and our building virtual teams. And when I hand it over to Steve, he will do an infomercial regarding the email that was sent out today. We want to solicit our chapter leadership. So if there are gaps in your professional development at your chapter level, if you could forward that on to NMA, to a national officer, or to your national director, and that can get sent in, that we can work on that. We do have some strong talent in the national board around professional and leadership development that we are looking to support and work with some other partners to deliver on those products for you. We are going to continue our partnership with ICPM, and we're doing it through our Certified Manager program. And we are looking to increase our partnerships with universities for co-development of professional material. So that is an opportunity for the skill sets that we do not have internally. We are looking to universities and colleges to support that gap with us. We're exploring technologies such as Zoom, which is what we're using today. And I would encourage, if you are a multi-site organization, that you explore Zoom as an opportunity in which to train, communicate, or share information with your membership. And we are also working with the NMA staff to ensure that they are understanding what are the needs and what we need to promote out in material for our products and partnerships. So, Steve, I'm turning it over to you for your info commercial, and then any other additions you would like to add to this topic.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. Yesterday, all of you, let me rephrase that. Chapter presidents, chapter vice presidents, PD chairs, and membership secretaries all received an email from me announcing a Foundations of Management and a Building Virtual Teams holiday special. What we're doing between now and the end of the year is putting our participant manuals for both of those courses, and they're right there in the middle of the screen. Our participant manuals are 20% off. You have to pay for them by December 15th to get the deal, but it's quite a savings. Those of you that have chapter rewards dollars left can still use those. So if you have both, for instance, a Foundations of Management book that's normally priced at $75 is $60 with a holiday sale, and with chapter rewards dollars, it goes all the way down to $48. So if you didn't get the email, check with those officers who did, or better yet, go on the NMA website. It's all on there. There's a banner. Those of you that are on the new website, the very last banner that scrolls across has to do with our holiday sale. So you can click on that, or you can just go over to the professional development tab. But everything you need to know about the sale is on the website. So Nancy also asked me to then take a broader view here. And I would say to you, as you're doing your goals and objectives, you probably don't have something called partnerships and products. But what are the lessons learned from this? First of all, somewhere in your chapter strategic plan needs to be a recognition that you partner with executive management. You not only partner with executive management, you also partner with human resources, you partner with training, you may be partnering with communications people. Bottom line is, every NMA chapter exists at the invitation of corporate management, especially if you're a community or a company chapter. So they're your number one partner, and you have to be a partner in their eyes. So part of your strategic planning is going, how do we partner better? How do we partner more frequently? How do we get the value add that our chapter brings on the table so that everybody sees it? So when you're doing your goals and objectives, when you're doing your strategic planning, it is very wise to go, what can we do to take things off our executive plates? Then somewhere in your strategic plan should be something around products. And that may be, are we going to put on lunch and learns? Are we going to be doing webinars? Are we going to embrace foundations of management? Are we looking at building virtual teams? Are we bringing in some outsiders, maybe from a local college, community college? What are we doing in terms of speakers? In other words, what are we providing for our members? So somewhere along the line in your chapter strategic planning, there must be a products utilization piece. Specifically, what are we doing to advance the mission? Okay, Nancy, I'll throw it back to you.
Thanks, Steve, and all good input. And I'll just give an example, a real-time example for the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan Detroit chapter. As a board, we made a strategic move that our newest executive advisor is our senior director from what we call human performance, but in all other organizations may refer to it as organizational development. And so that is a strategic move to align NMA with the organization so that we can fill gaps for the company and where they can help us and we can help them. So we look for a very strong partnership with that area and how we both can benefit the organization. So anybody want to add an example or provide feedback via the chat, or Sue, feel free to unmute and people can share some feedback, questions, or input.
I have a comment.
Sure.
This is Cindy Hayes. We're chapter 395 in the Tri-Cities. We don't have the corporate executives that y'all have. And so we're having to go out into our community and try to become partners with our other community businesses, so to speak. Any suggestions on that?
Steve, I'm going to partner with you on a response to that. Most of my experience has been in corporate America, and we are very fortunate at our chapter in Detroit that we have the executive support that we do. So, Steve, have you heard from other chapters that may be similar challenges?
Well, a little background for everybody else on the line. Chapter 395 is our Mid-Columbia Leadership Association, and it has a storied history. Many years ago, it was a Westinghouse chapter of NMA. They are at a nuclear cleanup site. There have been multiple contractors, all kinds of partners over the years. The chapter has always vacillated back and forth between being a company chapter, a community chapter, a site chapter. And Cindy's right on the money that right now, because of all the people on site, it has become a community chapter in many ways, actually reaching out to the community. So Cindy, I think the best way to handle that one is to find a handful of business leaders and ask them if they would just be a sounding board, an executive committee to your Leadership Development Association. And you want to start off gently because these people are busy. So, you know, once you get them identified with all the resources you have available to you in terms of people there in the Tri-Cities, I think you could very easily come up with a hit list of 10 to 12 people. And then you just ask them if they would be willing to serve on an advisory committee, meeting for 90 minutes, 2 or 3 times a year, in the evening after work, whatever. You know, you guys can work out the details. But you need to gently hook them in and have them feel that, well, I could help here without it eating up another chunk of my day. So I would start with an executive advisory committee and then slowly reel them in after that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Cindy. Does anyone else have any comments or questions or remarks? Okay, anything in the chat box, Sue?
No, nothing.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our final strategic response, which is our NMA image. Sue, I keep trying to take control away from you. I'm sorry.
At least this is working.
I know, I'm trying to like move it off my screen, so I'm sorry
It's
about
hard.
that. Yes, it is. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to go into our final strategic response, which is our NMA image, which our objective was to enhance and communicate and market our NMA's image. We implemented and deployed an effective website strategy, and that was our 3-year goal. And our 1-year goal is to implement phase 1 of the NMA enhanced website, which many of you that were at the annual conference saw it unveiled. And then if you have spent any time on the website, you have seen the new look of the NMA image through our website. And you can even see through this presentation, we have the new NMA logo that we are using to enhance our NMA image. So Steve or Sue, since my co-presenter had a conflict and isn't going to be with me, do either of you want to speak to the NMA website?
Well, this is Steve. I will start, and then we'll make Sue either add to or clean up my mess, one or the other. I trust all of you have been excited about the new logo, as we have been, and certainly the new website. They have both been under development for a long time. As someone who personally likes art, I recognize that changing the NMA logo was fraught with danger. So we went into its unveiling, if you will, somewhat of bated breath. And I've just been so genuinely pleased and surprised that I'm sure somebody out there has an issue with it, but they sure haven't stepped up. Everybody's been positive. Everybody seems to like it. It's fun putting it on things, and I just think it makes us look new and fresh and forward-thinking and with it. And that is an approach that when Sue Kapler first came up with the idea of redoing our website completely, that was part of Sue's initial thinking. And that was, it's time to go to the next generation of a website. It's time to make it look brighter, make it more interactive. We've got lots of things planned. We're just in phase 1, and I'm going to let her chat here in a second. What I hope is that everybody that's listening today has gone on the website and has sniffed around and snooped around. We still have pieces under construction. We've known all along phase 1 wouldn't be done until sometime in December. But we've made great strides, and I don't know if there's anyone out there who has ever been intimately involved in redoing a website, but it is hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of work. And Sue is still sane. That may be a relative term, those of you that know her well.
Relative, believe me.
But it's been a labor of love from her. Yes, we do have some third-party help. Kieran has been engaged. Judge Sloan, another one of our board members, have been engaged. But Sue has really led this initiative. And, you know, Sue wrote the book on customer service. So that's really the underpinning of the website, is to make it such that all of you, and some days all of us on headquarters, can find things more easily. So, Sue, I'll kind of let you speak to the first things that you're most proud of and what you see coming down the pike. Is that okay?
That's fine. First of all, I would like to say I am sorry that Kieran is not here, because he has been actively involved this year in this, well, last year and this year in this whole thing with the website. But I first want to start out by saying Steve was right, and this is right along with our strategic plan. Phase 1, it was to get everything, all the static information that we had on the old site and a few more things put on the new site, get a new design. And there are some of you I know out there have had some problems. I think it's with Internet Explorer with the drop-down menus. I have the developers working on that right now. Unfortunately, the guy who's in charge was in the hospital again, and but it will get done hopefully it'll get done within the next couple of weeks, and we'll all be able to use our drop-down menus. I think it looks a lot nicer, and when the drop-down menus work, I use Firefox myself, and I have no problems at all on Firefox, but it's very easy to go in and find things, much easier than it was on the old site. We now put up banners on the site that will tell you about new things coming along. As a matter of fact, this webinar, there's one banner with Nancy's and Kieran's picture on it that displayed the information about this particular webinar. We also are going to have the other webinars, so you can look at our website whenever you want, and it will go scrolling through. You can just click on each one of the buttons, the little dots underneath the pictures, and it will take you from one of them to the other. And we do have we will be having in the very near future, Shop NMA is going to be our online store where you can go and select items that we sell, pay for them online, or have us bill you. And there's a few little things most things are worked out on that right now, and I have to get in and add some graphics and everything to it. And but it's going to be very nice. It's going to be something we've never had before. And I think Kieran mentioned in this morning's session that we're going to have a member login, and once you register and get your own login and password, there are certain, depending on, like if you're a chapter officer, if you're a member or whatever, there will be certain areas that you will have access to that the general public will not have access to. And eventually we're going to be able to allow people to go on, and if they want to pull up their CEU, go check and see how many CEU you have, or if you want to check your chapter's awards, how many your awards your chapter has, and you decide you want to do it at midnight, you'll be able to do it. You don't have to wait for someone to get in at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning to be able to do that. But there are a lot of things that we're going to be features that we will be adding once we get the member login and registration, because we have 3 separate phases for this. And those of you who, if you've done any work on websites, know that it is constant changing and testing and finding out something's wrong and go in and fix it. And we're still working through some of that, but we still feel like that we have a good product, and we're going to have a much better product when the whole thing is finished. So I'm doing this very carefully. I'm going to unmute everybody and see if you have any questions about this.
A whole nother room.
Okay, does anyone have any questions about the website?
And Otis is on here going, Nancy, you're back. We see you now.
Hello.
Just so that you know, you're all unmuted right now.
Yes,
so
I am.
if If you have any questions or comments or feedback regarding the website or the NMA image.
Well, I have some comments. I think that the website is beautiful. I love the new logo. And it seems, at least what I've touched so far, more user-friendly than what I was used to. So kudos to everyone who worked on it. I think it's an excellent improvement.
Thank you very much.
And that was Ms. Thang.
Well, thank you, Miss Thang. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
No, this is Avis. Even though I'm one of the people who is still having problems with the website on both Internet Explorer and Firefox, the parts of it that do work are much more user-friendly, and it's much easier to find. Thank goodness.
I know. And you know what we're in the process of doing right now in order to take care of the issue with the drop downs not working for everyone? We're going to put a site map which is already developed, and I just have to wait till Bob's out at the hospital so he can tell me how to get up there to put it on, and then you'll be able to do the same thing from a site map also. So you'll have two ways to find things.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions or comments? Okay, Nancy, I will turn this back over to you. I will mute everyone and turn this back to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sue, and thank you, Steve, for your contributions to that portion of the presentation. And actually, that does conclude the strategic plan at the national level. This is the plan we're working on. This is the first year. We will meet in January and reflect on how we did on our goals for year one, and we will be developing our 2015 goals. And we will be sure that the national directors cascade that down to the chapter level so that as you are building your strategic plan, that you are aligning with the national level and the strategic plan that we are working on, and we can leverage one another to be successful. If you don't have a strategic plan, like Steve alluded in the beginning, that's totally understandable. But this is an opportunity to leverage the framework we're giving you and start to meet with your chapter level to build your strategic plan and look for your activities and your initiatives that you can put in place to support your goals and objectives at the chapter level. Steve, do you have any closing comments?
No, not really. Well, just a couple of things. The last topic that Nancy talked, Strategic Response 3, is image. Let me just remind all of you that all of our chapters have a brand. Every chapter has an image. Each one of your groups has a perceived position in the marketplace in either your company or your community. And as chapter leaders, if you're not sure how you are perceived, find out. Do a self-assessment, talk to people who are familiar with your chapter, talk with people who aren't. Make sure that you are in control of your own brand. All of us lose our grip on that one. We sometimes do here, and I know it happens in chapters. So take time to regroup and to rethink through that. I would like to thank Nancy and Sue for participating in the workshop today. I also want to pass along the fact that there will be no charge for today. When we have technical difficulties, we appreciate the fact that you're hanging in there. So that's our way of thanking you for being members of our NMA family. So there will be no charge. So Nancy, I'll turn this back to you to wrap up.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve, and I agree. I appreciate both Steve and Sue for supporting the WebEx today. I do apologize, and I will apologize on behalf of Karen. He did have a meeting conflict that he could not participate in this meeting, and he sends his regards and his encouragement to each of the chapters that you leverage the strategic plan at the national level and look to